episode 2, part 3. I am on question 31. Um So the reason that they started it was because there were some students that he said that like weren't gonna ever finish high school or like succeed in classes or anything, um, like without that like creative outlet, I guess, or whatever. Um, but they um they were like really were into poetry, and it like gave them like a way to like it's kind of like a release slash something that did actually benefit them intellectually, that helped them because they really did enjoy it, but it was also still something that like they had to work with and like work hard for and stuff. Why did he qualify? A place where black kids feel like they can belong. What the? That's such a cool idea, the club. questions are like weird. Why did he qualify a statement? I don't know what that means, like, by qualify a statement. Something about survival. Did I just like miss everything? Like,
I mean, drug abuse and violence. It's just so intense.
I can relate more to sports than I can spoken word. It's too dramatic for me. I really can't sit there and scream about this and scream about that.
okay, I'm skipping that because I'm really confused. I literally just listened to the whole thing and didn't say anything about that, so we'll just skip it. Okay. What the heck? I literally just listened to this whole entire episode and don't see anything about any of these questions. Survival? Did he even say anything about survival? I don't think he even did.
You watch it over again.
I think that this whole basketball speech thing, like relating it back to the assembly, the Black Lives Matter assembly, is that like I think all the black people at that assembly, like from the video at least, it showed that like they felt like they had different expectations and different standards and stuff than the white people. And I think that the basketball player kind of talked about that in his speech too. That's how it relates back. Trust is something about survival. What does he say? I don't think he said anything about survival.
My plate. I'm scared to play my last one. I live up to my last one. I'm getting kind of scared. So
we started this club in 1999. And the reason we started it
Right. Okay, for survival, he says that at this school you won't survive unless you have something. I think that it means that like you need to like fit in somewhere, like as in like work for something. Otherwise, like nobody will believe in you. So if you like fit in somewhere, then like you'll have that person to believe in you, like that teacher, that whatever, whoever it is. What makes the school necessitate? What does necessitate mean? The school like tries to like the school has like a lot of different options for a lot of different types of people, and I think that that's what makes the school necessitate what he says is needed. Charles' attitude about spoken word to his attitude about academics in the past episode. About spoken word, he's very passionate about it, and so he like works really hard for it, and like he likes that he knows that he's gonna do well. He seems very confident, whereas in like the last episode about academics, he like after I'm doing it for probably 12 total hours. Not even halfway done. Okay. Gosh, I'm so tired. He didn't care about academics, he cares about this. The creation of the club was meant for students that weren't going to pass high school otherwise, probably like Charles, so it gives them something to like come to school for and like try on and like accomplish things in, and like that's exactly what it's doing for Charles. Charles says that about shy people in spoken word. that they like have like a new voice that they didn't even really know existed, and like they want to share, whereas they never did before. And I think that happens because they're passionate about something, and I think that when somebody's passionate about something, like they always want to share. And so if they can find what they're passionate about and they can share about themselves and about what makes them them and the things that they love and are passionate about, then like I think that's why they share, because they get to do that in spoken word. In the classrooms, I don't think that's taking place just because they're not very passionate about this stuff and they don't really necessarily care about the information, and it's not personal or anything usually. So like they don't really want to share as much. Take all of this information. In my classrooms and in my lessons, I guess I've said this literally like a million times, but I think that I'm gonna like try to apply it to like I'm gonna try to like apply the information I'm teaching in the lessons to the interest of my students, which is kind of weird because it'll be kindergarten, so like there's like a ton of million different interests, but like I think applying the information and trying to like present it in a way that's more relatable to the students, that like they can actually like relate with and connect with, rather than just like talking at them about like just in a very plain way. I think that will encourage participation in the classrooms. As the talk begins, one of my students tells everyone that when he first met me, he thought I was weird. He explains that and then he added that I blew him away. What kind of student who was his magic day every classes that we had. How do you think what my students are doing in the challenge question? So I think just like this, your student thought that you were weird. That a lot of the students thought that Mr. Khan was weird too, like creepy, is what they said. Because he like kind of like stalk them and like guilt them into doing spoken word, and it was like annoying, so they would join because he was annoying and creepy. And okay, so I think that he tended to go towards the black male population to recruit people. There was a couple girls or white people that he and or white people that he tried to recruit too, like that gave like testimony to it in the like talked about their experience with it in the video, but he tended to go towards the young black males, like the black male students, because they were the ones who had like the highest like rates of not succeeding in school and stuff. Um, just like Professor Lorenus like tried to they like got close with this student. Yeah. um I will use that information just by like realizing like the demographics of people who tend to not be as successful intellectually, like not intellectually, like um just like in school, and maybe folk put like that much more effort into those students, like whether that has to do with race, whether that has to do with their sexual orientation, their family like history, a history of like their family situation at home, like single parent or like double parent household, or like whatever it may be that like sets them apart demographically. um the ones that are more like at risk for, like we talked about at-risk students in one of the chapters, like those students I would want to like put a little bit more effort in to like make sure that they feel heard and appreciated and seen. He said that Mr. Khan is like a huge inspiration to him, the biggest male role model that he has, and he doesn't want him to tell anyone to tell Mr. Khan that he said that, because I think he just like doesn't want to like be soft, I guess. I don't know. Well, no, I do know. He just doesn't want him to think that he's like a softie, I guess. Mr. Khan, he seems very persistent. His students say he's very creepy. Creepy as in like persistent, like I said, to get them to join spoken word. I will be like Mr. Khan, not in a creepy way, like I'm gonna stalk you during wrestling practice while you're running laps type creepy, but like not like creepy, but like I wanna be like um I wanna like be persistent. That's I don't wanna be creepy, obviously. I wanna be persistent, and I want to like never give up on students, even when they want me to give up on them and they're very annoyed with it. I'm still going to be persistent to show them that once they give whatever I'm talking about a chance, then maybe it'll change their life, or maybe it'll change their success and stuff. How I get myself to be able to accomplish that, I would just, I mean, I don't think it's that hard. I think if you care about somebody, you'll be persistent until you see them succeed. So I guess just I don't really have to get myself to be like that. I guess it's just if I care about a student, which I care about people. I literally care about people that I hate. I care about everybody. Biggest thing I like about myself, I hate about myself. Yeah. Shanti says something about spoken word. This is number 37. She says that she was super shy before and that it caused her to like have a voice that she didn't know existed and like be able to speak in front of people like that. And that it caused her to like be able to open up to like hundreds of people on stage, but then she said that she like didn't think about it until after she left the stage and she's like, oh shoot, like I just opened up to 100 people or whatever. Number 38, why did her mom want to adopt all the kids? Because she didn't realize how much the students were really going through and like some of the issues that they were going through. She wishes they never would have to go through. So she wanted to adopt them to be able to like be like that parent for them or whatever. The Power of Spoken Words Club, it shows that like kids who normally wouldn't are able to open up and be vulnerable in a way that they never would otherwise. Because if they would be able to otherwise, then more people would know about the issues these students are going through. Her dad's reaction to spoken word is that he was so surprised that she had that in her, and he never like expected her to be able to be that bold, like she is with her words and spoken word. If I was her teacher, how might a parent teacher conference go? Probably like I think that I mean, who am I? Like, what teacher am I? Am I the dude, that creepy dude? I think that I would just. I think it would go well. I think they would be like appreciative, and I think that they might bring up other students in the school, and I would tell them that like, yeah, we're working with them and stuff, and like that it is sad, but like that the school is like a safe place for them, and we try to make it that way. Some positives would be that they would realize like how much us teachers try, like to help these students, especially the students that don't have that sort of help from home or that support from home, in other aspects of life. And some negatives could be that I don't think there really are any negatives. I don't think there's any negatives to a parent teacher conference like that. Negatives would just be that like maybe they'd be upset that there's so many students like that, but we could just tell them that we're working with them and then they would be happy with it. Like I guess I don't know. I'm so tired. um being student. In her speech, she just talks about how she doesn't feel like she fits in with like regular girls. I think that as a future teacher, her poem kind of like touched me because like I can help these students fit in, like not just into certain groups, but like fit in, like not even like fit in, like to say that like it's okay to not be like everybody else. It's okay to feel like you don't fit in. It's okay to not fit in. It's okay to just and like to help them and encourage them to be confident in their own skin. I think that's something big that I can do as a teacher because like a parent can say that all they want, or like somebody in their life, student's life can say that all they want, but it feels like they have to say that because it's your parent or whatever. But like as a teacher, you're kind of an unbiased opinion to the student. District has racial disparity issues in terms of achievement. It's school district paid for regular schedule. New Zealand,
just feel weird being on like an all girls team because like on the outside like I look like I belong, but on the inside like I feel like I don't. I mean I identify as not but then I present myself. I'm still in that situation.
I think that they're eager to address the Black Lives Matter thing because it's political and it's public, and people will get upset about it if they don't. And I think that they're not eager to to address her findings and techniques for the achievement gap because it's not like the public knows about it, and it's not as controversial because of that. I mean, like not the subject matter itself, but just the fact that like when it's not in the media and it's not out in public eye, then it's not considered as urgent just because like to these people, the board, which is ridiculous because it's just like all about how they look. It's not actually about what's going on, and it's really messed up. I think that it's like significant that Dr. Jackie Moore is the only one interested in addressing racial issues because Jackie Moore is black and like black like because
Not the right time.
as a
This is
girl.
not how we do things. I would love to have any career. I took a whole year off of teaching. I go to New Zealand and really important leaders in Ministry of Education talking with me as to why
That's because Jackie Moore like is black and she wants to like address the issues that have to do with her type of like her population and the people of her race that are like her in that aspect of skin color or race. It kind of is connected to chapter 11 about like there's not that like there's a very small percentage of people on school boards that are black and or that are female, and she's obviously both of those, and she it kind of just shows how like even when somebody does finally make it there, that like a black person and or a female makes it to that high of a level on a school board, they still their say isn't as important as like the white males, which it talks about in chapter 11. There it number 41, where is it? I don't know. It really isn't anywhere. It's in Miss what's her face? Star something. I really don't even remember her name. I can't even think straight. Miss Stovall. That's the only one. She's the only one who really seems urgent about it. Why is it missing? Because I already kind of answered this, but just like it's not in the public eye, and if it's not in the public eye, then it's not urgent because all they care about, it seems, on the school board is how they look to the public eye, not actually addressing the issues. Again, the administration seems short when the assembly happened. And when the assembly happened, again, it's just because it was in the public eye, and so it made it very, it became a controversial thing because, and like a political thing, and it needed to be addressed urgently because of that in there in the school board's opinion, because it was in the public eye and they didn't want the school to look bad or have a bad rep. But if something's not in the public eye, not out in the media to be exposed and shown, like the true colors shown to the public, then like it's not really urgent to them because they just want to be seen in a good way. Then they don't actually care about what's going on and what is right and wrong. She's so frustrated because she took a whole year of school off and like did so much research, put so much work into this, just to be ignored. And her goals are to spread awareness on this issue and to implement her workbook and stuff, and teach other teachers about what she learned in New Zealand. She cry.
And then to come back to a park and my own administration won't even let me propose a single one of my ideas.
To learn more about
I never have understood about the school. No, let's get on this now. Look at this data. Okay, try this. Maybe this differently. The message that you got, the message that I have received in other contexts as a Black woman professional, you know, when she first started, she did amazing things. There were so many of our teachers that were families. And I started saying, she's not being respected. She's not being given authority to do what she's doing.
So she started crying while she's leaving because she felt like she couldn't be her true self. She felt like when every time she walked into the building, she had to think from a white male perspective Otherwise, she wasn't accepted, and there were repercussions or consequences, as she said. What her made her feel that way was just the administration above her, that consisted of a lot of white males, and they just made her feel like she wasn't allowed to be herself and her full self, and that was really upsetting to her because she knows that she can contribute and that she's not a white male and that needs to be accepted, but it wasn't.
There's a difference in surviving and living. What if all three kids can live here? What if all those are kids that can live and survive?
Just talks about surviving and living, and like surviving, I feel like is more like she made it sound like surviving was more just like being alive, like quite literally, and living is more like metaphoric, not metaphorically, but it's not just literal. Living is like being the best, being yourself and being accepted for it, and doing what makes you happy, um, and like living as you, not just like a white male or like everybody else or what they expect of you, but being yourself instead, and that's living. Um, as a teacher, one of the applications that happens how you set up your classrooms for your students. I will set up my classrooms like that will. I can think of that when I'm setting up my classrooms for my students because I can like make everyone feel welcome, like from a multiculturalism perspective. I could like implement that in my classroom by hanging up signs of different cultures. I can talk about so many different topics and like not like and like be open about not controversial things, like be open about like how everyone is different and like how that's okay, and like encourage my students to be themselves, especially because I'll be teaching kindergarten hopefully, or just younger kids in general. Then from a young age they know that that's okay, and then hopefully like as they grow up I'll be able that'll stick with them and they will be able to be themselves and live, I guess. Not I guess. I'm sorry, I'm just tired. Okay. So he says that he feels out of place being one of the few black students in his AP classes. Why is that important to keep in mind? As a teacher, if there's like a minority in my class, like a minority person of a minority group in my class, and they are kind of singled out because of it, and like don't look the same or aren't the same as everybody else because of that, I'll let them know that that's okay, um, because and like I'll treat them exactly the same as I treat everybody else, and I will never like single them out. Obviously, I don't know why anybody would, especially if I teach in a rural community, because in rural communities, it tends to be white people, and a lot of minority groups tend to live in cities that are more urban areas. So in a rural community, I know that there's so many minority groups, and I even know people who are from rural communities and rural schools that were picked on and bullied because of their something that set them apart that made them a minority, especially in the rural community where most people are just white. So especially if I end up teaching in a rural community, I just want to make that student feel welcome, and like if they ever look like they're struggling or seem like they're struggling because of how they look and stuff, then I'll just like talk to them after class and like try to make them as comfortable and welcomed as I can, and make sure that the other students do the same. I just think that Terrence's mother like so they could play a role. I feel like based on just this class with Mr. Noble, this like writing or poetry class or whatever, um, he seemed like he worked with Kendall just like he would with every other student. Like I didn't see him giving him like a ton of extra attention or anything, but it was like he just treated him like he was any other student, and he didn't let race affect how he talked to him or anything. Um, so what I would tell his mother is that I treat him like every other student. I hold him to the same standards as every other student. I'm not going to have higher or lower standards for him just because he's black or different from the most of the other students in his class.
You think you said
I also think that like he does like acknowledge that he's different, and he like talks to the class about it, which like I don't know if that's like a good thing or bad thing. I don't know. I'm tired, but he acknowledges that he's different, but like he like has the class like he shows the class that like that's good to accept that, and like that's there's nothing wrong with that kind of thing.
yeah, a little bit, yeah. But it's real and it happens a lot.
So Shanti was brought up to be like colorblind and like to not it does and taught that it doesn't matter at all like what color somebody is, that like everybody's the same and everybody can get along and has the same like playing field, or like should, and like there's that shouldn't set people apart, and she should never treat people differently because of what they look like. Um her experience is a different school. She seems to fit in a lot better at this school, but she still doesn't feel like she fits in, like not because of color, but because of just being like female. Um and she like identifies as something different than most females do. And her upbringing and the way she was raised, I already said that. And then at the other school in California, it was mostly Asian. Somebody said something to her about like how if they grew up in the Civil War era that Shanti would be her slave. Um, and like her mom like and she like knew that that wasn't okay because of the way she was brought up. Kind of impact on my teaching. I would just I feel like this is like a dumb question. Like I'm gonna make people think that they're the same. Like people like people are all the same. It doesn't matter what color they're. And how Shanti's parents brought her up is how I want to not bring up my students, but that's how I want to teach my students, like in terms of race.
Oh, my best friend said that to me.
Our best friend's Asians.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
He says that people look at him differently when he's with his black friends. Maybe like they look at him like he's more obnoxious or like has a bad stereotype. That's number 47. Number 48. How do the black officers view white students? The black security officers, they don't really say anything about the way that the students respond to them and view them. They say that they'll push your buttons all the time. And say that the black kids look at them as like an equal, not an elder or a person of authority. They just look at them as an equal, like they're trying to disrespect them or something. And the white kids look at them as like a figure of authority, and they don't. And they're sneaky rather than upfront about their rudeness. They say that the black kids tend to look at the security guards at how the parents treat them, and they tend to like call them things like auntie or mama or whatever, whereas the white kids don't do that.
And they may say, well, we pay you. I don't have to take my
You say that when you deal with kids, like you see how far that falls from the tree, like with the students because they act like their parents normally. Cesare smiles on the job because you have to be bubbly and you don't want to look like you're down on the job. So if you're African American, you have to be bubbly, I guess. He also says that he smiles even when he doesn't want to smile because it makes it easier to work in that environment that isn't necessarily healthy. They wanted to, the reading teacher spoke because there was an email sent about the reading program being audited, and they wanted to like give some clarification on what that even means and like defend the reading program.
Tone towards the program that is only
And
helping students.
people were talking negative toward the reading program, which has helped so many students, and they want to defend the program and defend their name because they aren't actually doing that. That's what they talked about. I mean, that happened at the meeting. I think it's sad how the teachers had to feel like they had to defend their name because they work so hard and they do so much. And like you could see in the episode, they're incredible. They're so good at what they do. They're awesome teachers, and they felt like and they had to defend their name when they were only trying to help these students, and they weren't even trying. They were helping. Like that's what they were doing because of their trying and their hard work.
But I don't know.
I think that like from what I've seen, not all teachers work hard in schools, but the ones that do, it's really sad when they have to like defend their name or like they get garbage for how they're teaching when really like nobody knows what they're going through and like nobody sees how hard they're really actually working and like so much of the work they do goes unnoticed and it's really sad. Yeah, I feel like their hard work usually goes unnoticed. Is what my point is. Yara's preparing for homecoming. Wait, what? Okay, just praying for homecoming. Oh, the purpose of schools, I think a big purpose of schools is to develop kids socially, which is part of the school dance. And is what she's doing with her school friends, is getting ready. Grant's conversation on the front porch with his friends. They're talking about the music that's going to be played at homecoming and how they're excited for it and everything. Number 53. What are they doing at Shanti's house? They're getting ready together. Her mom is handling the situation. She's all excited and like ditzy about it, and then her dad just is kind of like laying on the couch. Um, the difference in reactions to such an important school event relate to me as a teacher because I want to like hype the kids up for these events because like these are big events, and even if they don't like want to go to them, like personally I hated school dances. I didn't even go to a couple because I hated them, but like for the kids that are excited, I want them to like be able to make those memories that they'll have forever and like hype them up, make them feel good about themselves, make them excited, have something to look forward to during school. Like with parents, I don't think I would have conversations with parents about homecoming, honestly. But if they came and talked to me about it, I guess I would just tell them to hype them up because like, gotta be their biggest fans. In chapter 6, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't talk to parents about homecoming unless they asked me. Like, it's not like I just go be like, hey, are they wearing a homecoming dress? Like, I don't know. When parents aren't always on the same page together, oh, okay, I think that just having conversations with them, like having them be their biggest supporters and showing them that I'm a big supporter of their student, of their kid, is like helps me to be a most effective teacher because then I'll have a good relationship with the student and the parent. What issues could I foresee coming up in my conversations with parents? We're not always on the same page together. I think that if the parents aren't on the same page, I think that it could be hard because like I'll be kind of in the middle and I don't want to have to pick a side, and that'll be awkward and uncomfortable and hard. And I might have to have a hard conversation with the parents, like you guys need to figure something out and have come to a mutual consensus because I don't know which one of you to listen to because you both are parents of this kid. It seems like Charles is like out of his shell, like dancing with the girls, having a good time, and Grant is like very awkward and uncomfortable and in such a cold atmosphere. Feels very awkward and stuff in this. Oh, he's dancing with that girl. Very awkwardly, but it's kind of cute. I have never had a live act sing at my school for a school dance. I mean, we had like concerts and like talent shows and stuff, but it was never for a school dance. My school was tiny. My graduating class was like 80 people. Like at least for Champaign was tiny because I went to a small private high school. And it just shows that like there's a lot more funding for things like that at big high schools. Like for my high school, we literally had somebody's iPod plugged into a big speaker because sometimes we couldn't even afford a DJ because we didn't do enough funding throughout the year or like fundraising throughout the year for the school dances. Um, I just think like I didn't even attend a public high school where they have more funding. Like the high school I attended, like Champaign doesn't have very much compared to like more like the suburban high schools and the city high schools, like up by Chicago or bigger cities, bigger areas like that. But then like if you go to my high school, it's literally like we had like 5 computers that worked in the computer lab and didn't have enough money to get new ones. And like there was a lot of money to go around, but it was like never put towards the right things because the people donating it, like in my high school, money was power, and all the rich white people that had all the money kind of ran the school because they got to decide what they wanted to happen with the money. And like if they gave a $100,000 donation, then they got to be like, I want it towards this. Whereas like really this needed it, but they're like, no, let's renovate the soccer field instead of get new computers so that everybody has access to technology in the school who can't otherwise. So yeah, that's my thoughts about yeah. That is the end of episode